Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the public hearing for the tax rate increase proposal for the town of Forsyth Heights, Maryland. Today's date is Wednesday, May the 22nd, and the time is now 6:08, and this meeting will come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Hello, Mayor and Council. Councilmember Noble. Here. Councilmember Hines.
Present.
Councilmember Browson.
Here.
Councilmember Little. Councilmember Kennedy. Council President McDonald.
Here.
Mayor Lilly.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, we'll now have the proposed real property tax rate increase proposal. For the taxable year beginning July 1, 2024, the town of Forsyth Heights and the town council of the town of Forsyth Heights proposes to introduce and increase commercial real property tax rates from 0.5313 cents per $100 of assessment to 0.60 cents per $100 of assessment, and rented residential real property tax rates from 0.4654 cents per $100 of assessment to 0.60 per $100 of assessment. Is there any discussion on the proposed rate increases for commercial real property tax rates or for rented residential property tax rates? Not yet, sir. We'll have a public period for you. We have some other folks that'll be here later this evening. Thank you. Would just like to add as a summary that the rates that are being increased are specifically commercial real property only. This is not going to apply to owner-occupied residential properties within a town. The rate that is going to be proposed as the council has decided this year will be the same rate that the council adopted for last fiscal year, or for the current fiscal year 24. So rented residential real property, which is not owner occupied, per the database that the town has, is the rate that is being proposed to be increased. Mr. Cosby, I can't permit you to talk at this moment, so you'd have to wait until public period, sir. Sir, if you continue, just please wait until public period. We'll be more than happy to hear your comment. Okay? Thank you, sir. Is there any comment from council? If not, I'm going to ask if Councilmember Noble, my apologies.
Just one comment that that the rates are for commercial and rented residential property. And just this is a FYI for our owners who rent their properties, that there's a process and is it an application you must fill out for those rented properties? So we want to keep that in mind as well, because this may not incorporate all those who are renting properties.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. Is Mr. Frankenfield online? There we go. Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield, for being on the call. Could you provide briefly just a summary or calculation on the additional revenue that you anticipate being generated by the tax increase, one, and then two, is it possible to estimate, or just to give an example of what a commercial business may see as their actual realized amount based on assessments that are projected for FY25?
Yes, will do. So good evening, all. Todd Frankenfield. I'm a contracted CPA that the town has hired to support in the treasurer role. And to kind of talk through how we got to tax rates this year, we have to tell the story of fiscal year 24 and the town's budget and actual receipts. The town had a shortfall in fiscal year 24. So the town expected, and it was specifically around speed camera revenues or fines and fees revenue. So the town is anticipated to have a shortfall of approximately $2 million between what will actually be collected and what the town budgeted for. So throughout the year for fiscal year 24, which ends on June 30, the town has been looking at ways to cut expenses, balance the budget to manage to this revenue shortfall. So in drafting the budget for fiscal year 25, the year that starts July 1st of 2024, the town found itself in a position where it needed to raise revenues to cover services, to keep, the same amount of police officers employed, to keep the same amount of public works staff employed. So to balance the budget, we needed to increase taxes. The two types of taxes we chose to increase were commercial taxes and rented residential taxes. The rented residential tax increases revenues to the town by about $30,000 to $40,000. The town doesn't have a huge tax base for the rented residential properties. The commercial taxes, it increases revenues to the town by $5,000 to $10,000. So while this 7-cent increase that we're proposing seems like a significant increase, it doesn't provide I would say overall we're talking about $50,000 to $75,000 in revenue for the town. Back to the mayor's question about the average property. So if the average commercial property is $400,000, a 7-cent increase equates to $280 on an annual tax bill. So it is an increase. We're all conscious of the cost of these changes on our residents, but it's not it's not insurmountable, this increase. So I'll hold there.
Is there any comments or questions on Mr. Frankenfield's calculations, or just comments on the projected revenue that's produced and the cost for residential rented property or commercial? Councilmember.
Thank you. I do want to comment that this is an increase that we've been trying to get passed for years. Because I think the council feel that the non-occupied rental property is to be treated like a business, because the non-occupied rental property is getting income from that particular dwelling. So we looked at it from that standpoint.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Mr. Best, are you online, sir?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, good evening.
Yes, sir. Did you have a comment to add in relation to the, good evening?
Good evening. I just wanted to make a correction for the record. It's no longer called rented residential. The classification of that property is now known as non-homestead tax credit or non-owner occupied property. The name was changed and the classification was changed.
Oh, yeah. Non-owner occupied. Okay.
Okay, so just to get the correction, the correct title for it would be non-owner occupied.
non-homestead tax credit eligible, I believe, and in parenthetical, non-owner occupied. I don't have it at my fingertips. I'll look it up to give you the exact wording. Unless the treasurer has it there.
Okay, thank you for that update so we can record it correctly. It's in the resolution updated. Okay. So for those who are watching or listening online, the second class that has a proposed increase for the tax rate, it was formerly called rented residential real property. For FY25, it'll be referred to as non-homestead tax credit eligible, which is a non-owner occupied property. The rate that's proposed is still 60 cents per $100 of assessment, but the name will be different. Is there any further discussion on the proposed real property tax rate increase for commercial real property and for non-homestead tax credit eligible non-owner occupied property? Okay, hearing none. We will now have public comment. If there's anyone in the auditorium this evening who wishes to speak now during public comment, please come forward. If you can give your name, you'll have 2 minutes to speak. You can come forward to the podium, sir. Yes, you may. Good evening to you, Mr. Cosby. Oh, you may approach the podium. I'm sorry, my apologies. Podium.
We do that? You stand for it. Can I ask this question? Because it's only 2 minutes. You can ask a question.
Well, how about we do this? You can give us an introduction, and then you can send the follow-up to the entire council, and we can read and review. Yes, sir.
Prior. My 2 minutes.
I don't understand, sir. Yes,
Excuse me.
your 2 minutes will start when you step to the podium, sir.
And then I'll, give you a rebuttal or whatever. Can you do that?
You can provide comment for 2 minutes. We can answer questions if we're able.
To read that off.
No, sir, not since we didn't get to review it prior hand. But if you'd like to read some of it during your 2 minutes, you can do that, sir.
Okay, I want you to re-articulate what you said about the property.
Could you just give your name, sir?
Mike Cosby,
Okay.
I want you to re-articulate what you said in the beginning, because I don't completely understand that. Just let me give you the questions first, and then I'll start my time, okay?
Your time's starting now, sir.
Okay. So can you articulate it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, no rental property, the rental property is gonna be taxed. What does that mean? How are you gonna get the taxes from the people and the owners? The taxes are paid through Prince George's County, each homeowner. Why would you try to tax them more? Where as far as the non-occupied rental.
Okay. So, well, sir, yes. So just to reiterate, the rate increase is
But
going.
can I
to-
reserve the time for my
No, sir.
questions?
No, sir, you can,
So in other words.
if you have other questions,
you're
ask them and I'll answer
You're
them.
included on the 2 minutes when you talk. Is that correct?
If you want me to answer the questions now, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, if that's the end of your questions, do you have any more that you'd like to ask? Because I want you to ask them all so I can respond to them after your 2 minutes is up.
Yeah, I don't completely understand that, and maybe you can re-articulate that a little bit better, and when you answer my questions, because I have some cognition problems, and Sometimes I don't completely understand.
I understand totally. So you have 18 seconds left. So what I'll do is I'll answer the questions. It's not going to count against your time, but you just won't be able to respond back. Okay?
So I should sit down?
Yes, you can have a seat. We'll respond to you. Thank you for your questions. So, Mr. Cosby, just to reiterate, the rates that are being proposed to be raised are commercial properties and residences in town that are not owner occupied. And that's according to a database that the town has access to. So, for example, in the State Department of Assessments and Taxations, if someone has a homestead credit application that's been approved, then the town can reasonably verify that that is an owner occupied unit because the state is required to determine that it is owner occupied before approving a homestead application. And so those are the two types of properties that are being proposed to be raised. And the reason to raise the rates on those is because there's fewer of those residences in commercial properties within the town. So although the rate is increased, it's because the activity at those locations is more related to business as opposed to primary residence. And secondly, you mentioned that the county collects the taxes. That's correct. But the tax is for the municipal services that are provided, such as trash pickup, snow removal, public works staff, administrative staff, and other municipal services, which there is a fee, there is a rate that the county uses to understand if there's duplicate services that the town provides and the county provides. There's something called a differential where they try to return or reduce the amount that a taxpayer has to pay for services that they already receive. And that's to prevent double taxation. And lastly, why the increase? To reiterate that, the town suffered from a shortfall of revenue. Last year, we projected more revenue than we actually were able to collect. In the upcoming fiscal year that begins on July 1, we have made conservative estimates about what we will collect. So we expect to collect significantly less than we collected last year. And increasing these rates separates them slightly from primary owner occupied homes since there's business activity happening with them. And it helps us to raise slightly more revenue. But as Mr. Frankenfield just explained, for a home that is estimated at an assessment of $400,000, the difference, while it will increase, it will be around $200 for the year. And for businesses, it'll be a slight increase as well. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Can't ask any more questions at this time because you can't ask any more questions, sir.
Get my 18 seconds back and comment?
Sure. I'll give you 18 seconds, sir, if you want to come back to the podium. Absolutely. But you want to wait until you get up to start talking for your 18 seconds. Come up to the podium and then you can begin. Sir, please come to the podium. Please come to the podium. Oh, I see. Okay.
Why should the people that already pay taxes on unoccupied rental pay more taxes to the town? And again, because Prince George's always taxes people, what are you gonna double tax them because they have rental property, or what does that mean?
Thank you, sir.
My time is over?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not a double taxation. It's simply a change in the rate that they're already taxed at. And for rental properties and for commercial properties, the town is required to do inspections and permits and to monitor the properties for proper use. And in the event that a property is illegally used or rented, or that a commercial property doesn't maintain their license or has other activities undesirable, the town has a code enforcement officer who performs duties related to inspecting and maintaining and verifying the correct activities happening at those locations. So there is additional work that the town does administratively to administer those other properties. But it's not a double tax, sir. It's just a change in the rate. It's a tax that already exists, and it's for municipal services specifically that the county does not provide. Thank you for your comment this evening. No, sir, but thank you for your questions. If you have additional questions, please feel free to email them to the council. Thank you, sir. You're very welcome. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak during public period at this time? Was that no? Okay. At this time, public period is now closed. And the time is now 6:28, and this public hearing is adjourned. Did Mr. Best and Mr. Frankenville have their hands raised because they wanted to speak? I'm sorry. I thought they were still up from. What was that? Okay, that's what I thought. Yes. Do we have another meeting inviters at the same one? Yes, because we're gonna have the budget portion. Yes. All right.
Might be helpful if we can, the reason why a person to come to the podium, how they come to the podium to speak. So it can be heard before, right? So maybe if we explain that to them, they might not, maybe it might help them not be so hesitant about coming and getting up out the chair.
Yeah, I think maybe to your note, I know, to your note where we.
Exchange of opinion. And I did want to say on this, they have me listed as real. Well. On both of the agendas. Did we get a narrative? Clear narratives? No. I did. Do we have one? We normally get it. That's sort of coming on to talk about. But justification of just a narrative. And he said that he would provide it after we do hearing everybody to get the narrative. It's an explanation for the code. I'm talking about it. But he said he would provide.
Not yet. We need to go though. You need to do something?
Yes. Yes, Todd said that the ordinance needs to be updated. Did you guys have any comment?
I have a question, Mayor Lily. Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you.
Yeah, and I can hear you too, Council President. I don't think they have the audio on. Yeah, I'm gonna
Well, I
send
just-
you.
So we can hear your audio. We're just not in the meeting at the
Well, I guess I
Moment.
need to wait until the
we're
meeting.
waiting. Oh,
Or
okay, so
waiting for something?
we have residents in town, we have residents in the audience as well. Is it a question that can wait until the open session or till, did you want to speak offline?
I guess I just wanted a question of clarification. So I could wait.
Okay.
Todd, can you send me the spreadsheet?
Will do.
Trying to see if I have what they have in the room.
And will you pull up your email? I want to forward some stuff.
Okay.
Chief, can you mute us again?
Whew.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the public hearing for the FY 2025 proposed budget. Today's date is Wednesday, May the 22nd, 2024, and the time is now 6:39, and this meeting will come to order. Madam Clerk,
Yes,
could you
sir.
please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Noble,
Here.
Councilmember Hines. Present. Councilmember Kennedy. Councilmember Brownson,
Here.
Councilmember Little,
Present.
Council President McDonald,
Here.
Mayor Lily.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, as an attachment, we have the 2025 fiscal year draft budget. That is an attachment both in our packets and the residents and those members of the public joining us tonight have. I would like to open it up for Mr. Franklin Field to give a brief overview of the draft 2025 FY 2025 budget and justification for the projected revenues and expenses. And then we'll open it up for questions and review from council members. Mr. Frankenfield.
Thanks, Mayor. Council members, we've all been through the conversations. We vetted this. This is probably our fourth version of going over the budget. And, like we talked about in our prior conversations, revenue in fiscal year 24 wasn't what we had budgeted for. So we made some changes with our expenditures. The significant takeaway in our change year over year is just the overall decrease in appropriations, or the money that we're going to spend, the expenses, given that change in revenue. One thing I do want to call to your attention, and this is a change since the last time we talked, and it's pretty significant, so I think we should spend a little bit of time talking about it. Fund balance, which is the last section of the revenues. And let me know when you get to the proper page, because this is different than something we've talked about previously. So I wanted to give it a little bit of an explanation.
This would be on page 20 of 20.
This would be on page, it's at the middle, so revenue section. I believe you're on the expenditure section.
Yes, you're right.
So the last section of revenues, the attorney brought to my attention language in the charter that says all unlapsed appropriations or all town fund balance becomes revenue in the next fiscal year's budget. So essentially what that means is the town has an anticipated $1.2 million of fund balance as we enter fiscal year 25. 100,000 of that is unspent ARPA money. 403,000 of that is what we're going to use to balance the budget because our revenues don't meet our expenditures. So we're pulling in $400,000 to balance the budget. And the next line, the 696,000. What this is, this revenue comes into the fiscal year 25 budget as revenue. And then on the last page of the budget, we have a section where we say transfer to fund balance, $696,000 to fiscal year 26 budget. So essentially, this is all the town savings becomes revenue in this fiscal year's budget. We're going to use 100,000 of it from ARPA. We're going to use 403,000 of it to balance the expenditures that we currently have appropriated. And we're going to take $696,000 and set it aside for the fiscal year 26 budget. And this is all based on that language in the charter, which says all fund balance becomes revenue in the next fiscal year's budget. So I'll hold there for any questions, because that's different than anything we've talked about. We've been over the lines, we've been over the revenue lines, we've been over the expenditures. But that is a change that the attorney flagged during his review of the fiscal year 25 budget.
Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield.
Sure.
Are there any questions or comments relating to the explanation for fund balance and the unassigned fund balance and any other of the items Mr. Frankenfield just mentioned? Councilmember Brownson.
I just have a question or a comment. So that means when we start FY 25, we'll only have $692,581 to start our expenses with?
That's correct. Fiscal year 26, not 25.
Excuse me?
This is fiscal year 25's budget. So 696 carries into fiscal year 26.
Oh, okay, because we're doing a 25 budget now. Gotcha.
Exactly. Yep.
Gotcha.
So that's what our projected rollover to the next fiscal year.
Right, gotcha.
Unfunded balance will be.
Right, gotcha,
and roll
gotcha.
over to the next.
So how much do we have from FY 24 to roll over to 25?
1.2.
I'm sorry?
1.2 million.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Any other comments on that particular item? Okay. Now we'll open it up to questions, comments, or concerns on the draft budget as a whole. Are there any questions? Councilmember Hines, yes. Are you off mute? I want to make sure everyone at home can hear you and pull that voice, that mic close to you. There you go.
My first question would be the election board. Seeing that next or in March, I didn't see anything for, can I get some money put into the election board or whatever line item? I didn't see a number because it's a mayor election next year. And you saw how the turnout was this past election. And so I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. And the way I understand it, in order for us to get banners or signs, we would need the machines for public works to put them up. So is there any way I can get some money in the election, on that election line? I mean, what it's called?
Councilmember Hines, yeah, do you know which line item it is?
Yeah, I have it, Mayor. 9005 7008. It's at the bottom of the general government appropriations. And we budgeted for $3,000 in fiscal year 25, which is the same amount that we budgeted for in 24. And we used $1,000 in 24. So I think there's enough there.
Okay. So we still have $2,000 to use based on what we spent for last year.
Correct. Current year, yeah.
Okay. Or for current year, correction. Thank you, Councilmember Hines. So I think it sounds like there's a consensus among the council to leave that line item the same, since we have an additional $2,000 to use for additional promotion. Is that okay?
So you're saying that that's gonna be enough for the machinery that the public works is gonna need? Where I understand that the trucks were, so I wanted to make sure that that's enough. I didn't understand, but okay.
Well, we still have 2,000 to use. We don't know that it'll cover a whole lot, but based on the smaller budget, it stayed the same since last year.
But last year we weren't trying to do this. So
We didn't use the funds last year either.
I would like the turnout to be, better than it was. Okay. So can I go with the next one? Or do you? Okay.
Yes.
The youth line item I guess it was on page 18. I don't know if, is it even in existence? Do I still have a line item for those, the haunted house, the harvest, the Christmas, kids to play? And if it is, how much do I have? Because I'm seeing something on page 18 and I'm not understanding what that is. It's for youth program. You see that?
Yes, Mr. Frankenfield, could you talk about youth program and then the events that we have budgeted to cover for next fiscal year and at what amount for each event?
Yep. So youth programs, I think that's on page 18. It starts with a 90109002. That's it's under the restricted funding category. I'm just confirming we're talking about the same line item.
On page 18, I think it's 9010-8030.
What was the number?
9080-8030.
And Mayor, the budget is 20,000 for this fiscal year.
No,
Okay, 19. Page 19, restricted funds.
oh, I see. Okay. On page 19, under 9014, there's a line item 9010-9002, youth programs, 20,000 for FY 25.
Yeah. So to explain that line item, that's the line item for the county money. The county gave us approximately, I want to say $440,000 for youth programming as part of their grant at the beginning of fiscal year 24. So there's 20,000 in that line for youth programming. And then I want to call out the community events line item, which is up under general government. 9003-7257. And I'll wait till you get there.
So we're on
Can you, what is it, 90?
page 9.
900-7257.
Okay.
Okay, we're there.
Okay. And yeah, there we talked about, we appropriated $6,000 for 3 events for the fiscal year. Harvest Fest, the Christmas tree lighting, and Veterans Day. $2,000 per event. Did that cover the events we needed to cover? I think there was some conversation in our last meeting and
Yeah, there's another event that we have a separate line item for, which is we have a separate line item for Forest Heights Day, which is included and budgeted, and we had just one moment too, and I think I see Council President McDonald. Had you raised your hand to leave a comment, Council President? I know your hand's been up.
I'm sorry, I see it. I'm sorry, I need to put it down.
Okay,
I saw on the budget what I was looking for. Thank you.
no problem. Councilmember Noble?
At the last budget review, when we were talking about the different activities or events, there's one that I believe the residents look forward to, and that's the shred. So I don't know if we could maybe include it within one of the other events.
When is it the shredding event normally happens? That's normally April Earth Day in October. So could it be incorporated with Harvest Fest? I don't know.
What?
Cause
It always with,
just one moment. I think during that event, the parking lot is taken up with everything, so I'm not sure it could be incorporated there. Did you have an event to add, Councilmember Kenny? I'll come to you, Councilmember Bryan.
So you actually brought up another thing that's in conjunction with the shredding. We normally have a week where the residents can bring anything they need to dispose of down here. We also do the cleanup, and for some crazy reason, everybody lumps the haunted house in with the Harvest Festival, and it's two separate events. It just happens to coincide on the same day and they follow each other, but it is a separate entity. Therefore, it needs funding also.
Thank you. For the other events that we're requesting to add, is there a source where we would want to pull funds from to increase the line for those events?
you're saying, I'm sorry. you
Well, I'm
called-
just saying, if we're gonna increase the funds for one of the events, we'll need to pull the funds from another line. So is there a line you propose to decrease in order to increase the line for the event? Councilmember Kennedy?
Well, these are annual events that happen every year for Lord knows how long. So I don't know why it wasn't funded to begin with.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Councilmember Noble?
Yes, I think the treasurer made it clear that we are at a shortfall, so the budget process is it starts July 1, but that doesn't mean that there may be funding that comes into the town that we can allocate accordingly. But at this time, it's what things that have to be shaved, cut to make this budget work. So to provide the services for the residents, to pay the salaries for the employees, so things like that, we have to be conscientious about our spending.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. I would also add that on the youth programs, the way that the county grant was written, it's youth and community program, so it counts for events that serve youth and community. So as I understand it, there's an opportunity for us to use and to maybe put into the notes next to that line, some of the other events, like, for example, the haunted house, and then for some of the kids' play days, to pull from that line.
You said the youth line item?
Yes, the youth line item, which is that one we call page 19.
So the total of 20,000 that you're talking about?
Yes.
I have a question,
Yes, Council President.
if I may. Is it a way where, since we are to Councilmember Noble's point, trying to balance the budget and cut where we can, not that we want to, but we're trying to make some changes where we can, and then do budget amendment when funds become available, and incorporate those things back into the budget where we can?
Thank you, Council President. Well, for now, I propose that if council agrees, we outline what are the events that we wanted to list there? It was the haunted house. Was there another event, Councilmember Hines?
The Christmas event for the children, the harvest, kids to play day.
Okay, we have Harvest Day, so then we would be putting here haunted house, And you said there was a kids play day.
Where are you putting this?
This is on page 19, next to line item 9010-9002. Programs.
Okay.
House kids playing day. Did we get that correct, Councilmember Hines? Is there another day?
You have the Christmas party for the children, the harvest / haunted house. So, yeah, all of that, yeah.
Haunted house, Christmas play day, Christmas party. Okay.
So what we're saying here, we're earmarking this 20,000 for these events, or we just want to add these events to the 20,000? What are you
I
proposing?
propose earmarking.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And what does that mean?
That means adding a note that we'll be spending that dollar amount will be divided among those events.
So therefore, we won't need to change the budget.
Right. It doesn't require us to change the budget, just a notation so that we know which events fall under that category, those categories.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you. Councilmember Kennedy, my apologies. Kennedy.
What about any of the other holiday that we have a function, whether it's small or big? Is that factored into this also? Is that just gonna be winging it?
Which holidays were you?
Well, I mean, I see you have Veterans Day down here on page 9, but we've been doing a function for Juneteenth. So is that, are we gonna cut out a budget for that, or is that gonna be incorporated into this budget also?
Well, yeah, it's a holiday, so we actually holiday when the town is closed. So we didn't have an event planned for this year.
Just asking.
No, I think it's a good question. Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Councilmember Noble?
I just wanted to add, we talked about community events for November to engage the surrounding churches, Glassman and Birchwood City to create, because everyone has something going on, even with the book bag giveaway is duplicated. It's almost like every other weekend. So how do we come together as a community to make this happen? So that was the option. So we have more than probably 10 churches just right in here in this area who are willing to participate. Just a matter of the outreach.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. That's a good point. We had discussed that, for example, last year, Abundant Life Ministries, which is right here next to the 7-Eleven, hosted a Thanksgiving meal, which was open to the community when they served on Thanksgiving Day. St. Mark's AME Church has a regular food giveaway program that they do actually many times every week, and a large distribution that they do during holiday seasons. And I think Councilmember Hines has mentioned before that it's probably a good idea for us to go ahead and send our letters out and look at dates and holidays that we want to collaborate with some of our community partners on, and also bring in some community businesses who would be interested in sponsoring to help sure we can fulfill a lot of the services we provide to residents, and then also take care of some of the holidays and events where those who are less fortunate still need a hand. Councilmember.
Yeah, the church on Livingston Road took over new ownership, and they were here at the event for
Third Baptist
75th Day.
Church, yes.
And they said that they would be willing to do a backpack giveaway during the holidays. So they want to, help the community as well. So I think he gave you his card.
Yes,
so-
I actually got to visit last week.
Yeah.
So they were very much interested in finding ways to partner and engage with town residents for events that can help the community and those in need. So just taking some action items for us to start getting letters prepared for the holiday and community events that we have. Are there any other questions on the draft budget from council, suggestions or proposals for changes? Yes, Councilmember Kennedy.
I didn't get a chance to look at every single line item, Have we factored in potential raises for Public Works? Because they are the most underpaid department we have.
Mr. Frankenfield,
No, all staff are maintaining their current salary rates. And the option is there to entertain raises. It's more from savings to balance the budget, or we cut out other appropriations. But no, as drafted, staff are maintaining their same rates as the current year.
thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield. Council President McDonald.
So I have a question about, and just getting clarity for the ARPA money of $100,000 that we have here carryover from 24 covers salary benefits. What salaries and benefits would ARPA be covering? Thank you.
The program manager, who's now the acting TA, we're going to maintain that position and that string of funding. And I'll yield there.
Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield. Did that answer your question, Council President?
So it's gonna take $100,000 to cover the salary for the program manager. Is that what I understand? I'm just trying to get clarity, Todd.
Yeah, and I mean, it's salary and fringe. So salaries probably around 80, and then payroll, taxes, insurance, workman's comp. It's not just salary.
Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield. Councilmember Noble.
It relates to the budget, and I don't know if this is something that the treasurer can provide, but I think it would be helpful if the council could see positions, the salary, the benefits, all those things in dollars. Because we look at a salary, it could be $10,000, but you could be getting $10,000 in benefits. So we need to look at the whole, just in the positions. And I don't know if that's that's a future request, but just to make sense of these dollars and cents, because you see salaries, but then something else goes to benefits, something else goes here.
Yep, understood. And the staff pulled it together. I'll get it shared by email over the next couple days.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield. Are there any further questions on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2025? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to the next item on the agenda. At this time, we'll have public comment for the budget hearing this evening. Is there anyone in the audience with us in the municipal building or anyone online who wishes to speak during this time? Okay. We have one resident or member of the public who is online. If you please state your name and you'll have 2 minutes to give comment. Just one moment. Mr. Hines, you wanted to give comment as well?
Pardon?
You wanted to give comment as well?
Yes.
Okay, so let's have the person online. Wait just one moment. We'll have Mr. Hines, if you could just state your name.
Quincy Hines, 141 Onondaga Drive, Forest Heights, Maryland.
Good evening, sir.
Ward 3, the best ward in the town. I have a question about the amount of money properties, and then somehow the money is lost. You know, I went to the Opens Meeting Act to find out what was going on. I mean, who's been held accountable? I mean, like if I'm in charge of something and I invest the town's money, but it turns out to be a bad deal. I mean, who's overseeing me? Who's stopping me or who's helping me to make the best decision? Do you understand what I'm saying? You understand my question? You do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have an answer?
Is that your only question for this evening?
Yeah, that's my question. That's my question in a nutshell. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I won't be able to let you respond, but it's the town council makes decisions about how money gets appropriated. And if we find out that it was misappropriated, then the council can investigate that. But if it is just that a property was purchased or just that it hasn't moved forward, that's also up to us. We oversee projects and have special committees to ensure the projects move forward. Is there, does that answer your question, sir?
No, sir, it didn't. My
Okay.
question,
Well, you have 23 seconds.
23 seconds, that's not enough. All right, thank you, Mayor. I
We-
appreciate.
We would
appreciate
welcome an email follow-up to make sure we can get your
Okay.
question answered fully, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak during public period? Yes, please come forward.
First, I couldn't get online. Your meeting,
If you could just give your name, please.
sure. My name is Andrea McCutcheon. And I just have a few questions. First of all, I think normally you go through this, what didn't happen the last year is you didn't go through each line item, line by line. And then that's where you probably came into your shortfall because a lot of, especially the police department is overexpended with police officers. Then we're not getting the service in the town. And the other thing is you're having a lot of events. I know that Forest Heights Day was overspent. I don't know how much you budgeted this year. But you're not looking at where you should be cutting because we're not getting the services that we asked for, like these people running this light or this stop sign down here. It's unreal. And you did a study on it and you saw that it happens. And to date, there has not been one police officer to sit down there at Seneca Mohegan to see all these cars just running the lights. So we're not getting the services. I see the cars parked up at the hotel where you got your free, whatever it was you got up there, and all around at the businesses. And I'm glad you raised the business tax, but the residents that live here aren't getting the services. All these events that you're having, it's ridiculous. And this is why your budget is overspent. I mean, you have $500 and some $1,000 each month coming out. You can't sustain that. And you can't carry over anything. All expenditures are stopped at the end of the fiscal year. And where do you expect to get if we run into any money? All you have is your base, is your tax base. That's it. This isn't a mom and pop business. You don't get any more money. You just get the money from the taxes. That's it. That's all you can anticipate. Right? So I have a big problem because you haven't gone over each line item. And I had to come up here to even get this. You know, and I was online, couldn't even get in the meeting. And it doesn't make sense. And you know, all this, I've been documenting all this stuff. Wrong day on the election, you know, not getting sworn in, couldn't do it, and then sworn
Thank you,
in.
Mrs.
It's ridiculous.
McCutcheon, for your comments tonight. Thanks for being here. All right, is there anyone else who would wish to speak during public period this evening? Okay, with that, public period is now closed. All right, next we will move into the next item on our agenda. Adoption of the FY 2025 budget. Ordinance number 06-24 is an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, to approve and adopt the fiscal year 2025 budget and authorize its amendment by resolution. This is introduced by myself, Mayor Lilly. I move that we adopt ordinance number 06-24.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance number 06-24. Discussion. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Noble,
Yes.
Councilmember Hines,
No.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Abstain.
Councilmember Browson,
Yes.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Did I say no? Did I say Browson? You said
Yes.
yeah. Council President McDonald,
Yes.
Mayor Lilly,
Yes.
motion failed. We need 5.
Motion passed. There was 5 yeses.
1, 2, 3. Oh, I apologize. There was 5.
Can you read the yes
Yeah.
votes?
We have Councilmember Noble, yes. That's what I meant. I apologize. Councilmember Browson, yes. Councilmember Little, yes. Council President McDonald, yes. And Mayor Lilly, yes. Councilman Kennedy abstained and Council Member Hines said no.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Mhm.
All right, so the motion carries.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes our agenda for this evening. We just want to remind you of a couple of events that are coming up in the next few days. On Saturday, May the 25th at 9 a.m., there will be a Green Team meeting here at the Municipal Center, 9 a.m. At 10 a.m., there will be the Finance Committee hearing
Mm-mm.
and then Finance Committee meeting.
No. The green team is meeting at the community garden at 10 o'clock, Mayor.
Okay, my apologies. So Green Team will be meeting at the community garden on North Huron at 10 a.m. I'll let
Yes,
you say
sir.
it, Council President. I'll let you
Yes.
share it.
There's going to be a community garden meeting with the master gardener on Saturday, asking all community members to come out and participate and listen to the vision for the community garden. That's going to be on Saturday at 10 o'clock. Then we're going to have our finance committee meeting from 11 to 12, and then from 12 to 1 is our Ways and Means meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President McDonald. Also on Monday, May the 27th at 11 a.m., there will be a Memorial Day ceremony at the Veterans Memorial, which is at Seneca Drive and Woodland Drive. So there'll be a brief ceremony there at 11 a.m. We're inviting those who have served in the armed forces, the community members who had loved ones, and any members of the community who want to come out and pay their respects on Memorial Day to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Are there any other upcoming events or announcements that the community should be aware of before we adjourn this evening? Councilmember Little.
I just wanted to, good evening, first of all. I just wanted to let everyone know that the career takeover is going on May 31st. It's for youth of between middle school and age of 24. It'll be a good experience for them to come out, see about different jobs that are available, and just collect information on economic development. A good event is being hosted by Employee PG. So it's down at the Southern Regional Rec Center on Bach Street.
Bach
Road. Yes, and that it will be held from 3 to 5 p.m.
Thank you, Councilmember Little. If there are no other
Mayor Lilly?
announcements.
I
Oh,
have
Council
my
President
hand up.
McDonald, did you have something additional?
Yes, very quickly, for those who are going to be attending the community garden, if you could bring some chairs, because we don't have a whole lot of seating in that general area. So if you have chairs, bring. Also on May the 31st actually, which is next Friday. Can't even get it out. There's going to be a mental health awareness event that is happening at the MGM Grand, and the ambassador for youth of Forest Heights, myself, and Mr. Holland will be attending that event. Also, there's an opportunity for more tickets that I'm trying to get for anyone who might be interested in attending that event. That's going to be on May the 31st, and I will let everyone know if I get additional tickets, and if you're interested in attending, I will give those tickets out. Thank you.
Council President, Councilmember Kinney was asking, what time is that event?
It's on the 31st, and I got to get the time for sure because they had several things going on, Council Kennedy. So let me get the right time for you, and I'll put it out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Councilmember Brownson.
Council Burrow's office,
Mike, close to you.
Council Burrow's office sent out an invitation to the council people that he had additional tickets, so if anyone wanted to go, they just needed to acknowledge the email that he sent out. And I think it says it's gonna be at the Gaylord instead of the MGM.
Yeah, it's at the Gaylord, and those that's what you're referring to. What you're referring to, Council Brownson, is the same thing
Okay,
as far as tickets.
so you said each council member, did other council members get an email about tickets? Okay. All right. Well, with that, thank you for the announcements. Thank you for the members of the public who came to the budget hearing and the tax rate hearing this evening. We appreciate your time, patience, and input. We hope to serve you well in fiscal year 2025. And the time is now 7:21 and this meeting is adjourned.